guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my May wrap up as well as my June TBR, which is definitely tentative. I am really bad about sticking to a TBR, but I thought I would show you the books that I am very excited about and ones that I'm really planning on getting to sooner than later. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So in the month of May, I read 3 books, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm recently just getting back into reading. I had a very busy exam period during half of May, and now that that is over, I'm able to read a lot more, but I just didn't get to as many books as I wanted to in May, but that's all right. I still really enjoyed the books that I read, so let's go ahead and get into those. So the first book that I read is The Stranger by Albert Camus, and this book was given to me by my boyfriend, and I hadn't gotten to it yet. He gave it to me in I think December, and I just knew that this is one that I really wanted to get to. It's a classic, and it's a really interesting novel. So this book was originally written in French, and it was translated into English, and it's basically about a man who is very ordinary, living an ordinary life, and his mom dies, and that's kind of the catalyst for the beginning of the book. And it just follows his life and his mundane actions and kind of explores his lack of love and sadness and remorse for different things. And I don't want to talk too much about it because it's very small, but I definitely think it was worth reading. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very interesting to get into the head of this man and the different things that end up playing out. So yes, I'm not sure what I gave this. I think I gave it 4 stars, but anyways, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I finally got to it, and yeah, this was a great start to my month. The next book that I read was one that was on my highly anticipated books for 2018, and that is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. So this book is about a girl named Lyra, and she is a princess siren, and sirens are very evil in this book. They take humans' hearts, and they kind of have no remorse for humans whatsoever. And then there are mermaids who kind of like humans for their treasures and things like that. But this is about Lyra and her mother, who's the sea witch, and one day she makes her mom really mad, and so her mom decides to turn her into a human, and she ends up meeting Prince Elian, who is this prince of this castle, and he wants to go explore and do all of these worldly things in the world rather than rule a kingdom. And it's about them meeting, and obviously she has a big hatred for humans, but as you can guess, there may or may not be some love and romance in this. But I really love mermaids. If you guys know, I love The Little Mermaid, so I really like mermaid stories and things that go along with that. And even though this wasn't exactly like The Little Mermaid at all, I've heard it's a retelling, but to me it's not exactly, but kind of. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really nice fantasy standalone, and I thought the writing was really pretty, and I loved the characters. I think the characters were very interesting, except Lyra kind of confused me because she was so evil and so angry at humans at the beginning, and then it kind of fades really quickly as she moves on to meet Prince Prince Elian. And so I was kind of confused about that because her character kind of totally flip-flopped by the end of the book. Nonetheless, I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars, and yeah, I hope you guys pick this up because it's a great summer read, and if you like The Little Mermaid, I'm thinking you'll probably like this one as well. And the last book that I read in May was incredible. I'm so happy I finally got to read it, and that is The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. This book was recommended to me by a bunch of people, and I got it on Book Outlet for a great price last year, and I just never got around to it. And it's very small, so I don't really know what took me this long, but I'm really glad I finally did. So this book is about 4 different people in Alaska, and it follows their perspectives and through their lives, and eventually they kind of interweave together. But it's about kind of the isolation of living in Alaska and all of them kind of coming of age and connecting together and different things that they go through, different hardships and how they come through them. And I really loved this. I thought it was fantastic. I've never read a book set in Alaska, and I found this super interesting because it's it's such a neat place, and I think reading about it, the author, Bonnie Sue Hitchcock, did a wonderful job of like placing me there and making me feel like I was there while I was reading this. So I really enjoyed this. I loved all the characters in different ways. I thought all of their different plots were very interesting and different, but I also loved how they connected in the end. So I would definitely pick this up if you're looking for kind of, I would say, hard hitting. I think there's probably a couple trigger warnings. I will leave below what the trigger warnings are for this, but this is a hard hitting but a great contemporary that I think a lot of people would enjoy, because it lets you explore a place that I bet a lot of people haven't before, and I think it represents a lot of young adults' lives really well. So I really like this. And I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I mentioned that. So now we are moving on to my TBR for June. This is a bit larger than I think I'll be able to get through, but I wanted to just set the bar high for myself and see what happens. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first book I am actually currently reading, and this book was sent to me by Penguin Random House, so thank you so much, Penguin. I am so thankful. And that is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is the new cover editions that have just come out in excitement for The Reaper at the Gates, which is coming out June 12th. I'm pretty positive. If I'm wrong, I'll let you know. But this is a book about a girl named Laia and a boy named Elias, and they both are living in this world where slavery is a thing, as well as this big empire that is killing people and taking over. And Elias is a soldier in this big empire, but he doesn't want to be a part of it, and he doesn't like what's going on with it. And Lyra, her brother, is kidnapped, and so she has to pose as a slave to try and get information to get him back. All of this is on the back too, so I'm trying not to spoil you, but all of that information, you'll find it on the back. But I am loving this so far. I am 3/4 of the way through, and I am trucking through it. It took me a little bit to get into, but now that I'm into it, I really like it. I think the characters are really fascinating, and I like all of them separately, except for Helene. If you know what I'm talking about, I don't like Helene at all. But I love this so far, and I'm really hoping that I will love the ending of it and be really excited for the next book, which I have coming up, and that is A Torch Against the Night, and this is the sequel to that book. And I just really want to get to this because I have a feeling I'm going to be left on a cliffhanger in that book, and I'm going to want to jump straight into this one. So I'm really excited to see where the story goes, as well as hopefully picking up Reaper at the Gates at the end of the month or in the middle of the month, and continuing with this series. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. So yeah, thank you so much, Penguin. I'm really glad that you guys introduced me to this series. I had heard about it, but I never owned it and never really thought about reading it, but now I'm so glad that I am. So the next book I think is on a lot of people's TBRs, or was read in May, and this is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a novella going into the story of A Court of Thorns and Roses by her, and this I think bridges the gap between the last book as well as the new book that's going to be coming out. And this one is interesting because I've kind of fallen off this series just because the last book was not what I wanted. It didn't come up to par with what I was expecting, and I felt like a lot of things were out of character. But saying that, I do like the characters and I want to see a little bit more of them and see what she does with this. I've heard very mixed reviews about it, but I figured might as well see for myself. So I'm going to be trying to read this. It's very short. It's a very short novella. For how much I paid for it, it's a little expensive, but anyways, I'm excited to read it. I'm hoping I enjoy it. If not, I'll let you know for sure. But yeah, this is the next one on my TBR. Next, I have a book that I tried to pick up a couple months ago and I just couldn't get into it. I think I probably wasn't in the right mindset, but I've also heard mixed reviews about it as well, and it's also not very long, and that is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This book was one of my highly anticipated books last year? Early this year? I can't remember when it came out. I think it came out last year. Oh, it came out in 2017. So yeah, one of my most anticipated books for 2017, and so I just never really got around to it, but I really wanted to read it. And yeah, I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm excited to read it because I think this is something that I'll enjoy. I think this girl is a painter and she paints fae, and I think she falls for one of the faes. I honestly don't remember all of the plot, but I do know that she's a painter, and so I'm excited about that. I want to see where that takes this story, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. Also, Charlie Bowater, art is beautiful, love her. Moving on. Next is a series that absolutely everybody loves and devours, and I finally am going to get around to it, and that is Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. This book has been on my TBR since it came out. I finally decided to purchase it for myself, and it is teeny tiny. As you can see, a lot of my books are very small, this TBR, but that's because I don't know where this month is gonna take me. So this book is about a bunch of kids going to different magical realms like Hogwarts or Narnia or things like that, where they're like happily ever after fairy tale places, and they end up coming back and the parents send them away to boarding schools because the kids aren't the same and they're really wishing they could go back to those places because they were so amazing and magical. And so it's basically, from what I know, about them exploring like what it means to be back from such a magical place and living in the real world and how difficult that is. So I've heard this is incredible. I can't wait to get onto it, and I know that there are 2 other books in the series already out, so I need to get on it. But yeah, it's so short, and I know I can really whip through this, but I'm hoping I love it as much as everybody else does. Next is a book of poetry that I got in one of my quarterly packages that I just haven't gotten around to, and I've heard so many wonderful things about, and that is Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. And this is about a bunch of different experiences that Jacqueline Woodson had growing up as an African American in the 1960s and 1970s. That's what it says right there. And I think it's supposed to give you a little glimpse into her life and the hardships and the experiences that she had. And I have been meaning to get to more poetry recently, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. I don't think it'll take me very long at all, but I'm just really excited. I love getting to read more diversely. I think that's super important. So I'm very excited to be reading this and telling you my thoughts about it, but I'm really expecting it to be great because it's won, as you can see, lots of awards. So I'm very, very hopeful that I'm gonna love this one. Next is a book that I saw Whitney from Woody Novels talk about that really intrigued me, and I finally just decided to pick it up, and that is Box by Nicholson Baker. And this is a story told through the dialogue of a sex hotline, and I don't know anything more than that, but that sounds super intriguing to me, and I'm always interested in reading books kind of out of, not my comfort zone, but out of what I normally read. I don't normally read about sex hotlines, but I think this will be interesting, and I've heard great things about it, and it is a national bestseller, so we shall see what happens. But yeah, I just think it's really fascinating. I don't know, we'll see. And lastly, I decided to make a TBR challenge jar. So this does not include books from my TBR shelf, but rather challenges and things for me to do every month. So I decided to make one of those, and I picked one. I know I didn't show you, but I picked one the other day. So the one that I picked was a book that a viewer recommended. So I decided to look through all of my comments, and I came across someone recommending me to read the Legend series. So I recently got this in my quarterly package, so I decided I might as well read it. So this is Legend by Marie Lu, and this book is supposed to be so good. Everyone loves this series. I kind of skimmed past it because I never really thought it would be up my alley, but I've heard so many good things about it. I figure I might as well give it a try, and if it was recommended to me by you guys, I trust you, so we will see how this goes. I know nothing about it. I'm sorry, I know absolutely nothing, but I do know people enjoy it and that it is a fan favorite. So I'm excited to check it out and see how Marie Lu's writing is, as well as the world and the characters. So yeah, that is the one that I chose for this month. So here's my jar. I'm going to be getting rid of this one, and then next month we will pick another one and see what I end up with. So yeah, that is going to be it for my May wrap up as well as my June TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you guys can leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you want to for more videos. I'm trying to put out multiple videos per week, so I hope you guys are enjoying my new schedule. I'm trying to be on top of it, and I'm really enjoying it because you guys are so wonderful and so active, and it just warms my heart. So anyways, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!